Tom had never expected his day to go like this. He was a mechanic, not a fighter. His job was to fix machines, not to step into battle. But here he was, standing in the middle of a huge training field on an alien warship. The sky above was dark, filled with stars, and the huge metal walls of the ship surrounded the field. A crowd of alien soldiers watched quietly from the sides. Tom looked around nervously. He could feel their eyes on him. Most of them were tall and strong, wearing shiny armor that looked heavy but allowed them to move quickly. These were the Vreen warriors, known throughout the galaxy for their strength and skill. And Tom was just a human, the alien who had called him here. A commander named Rena stood across from him. She was tall and fierce, with armor that gleamed in the light. Her eyes were sharp, and her body moved with the grace of a hunter. Tom had heard stories about her. She was one of the best warriors in her clan. Tom's heart beat faster. "Why me?" he asked quietly to the officer beside him. "I'm just a mechanic." The officer smiled without much warmth. "It is the custom of the Vreen to test outsiders who come aboard our ships. They want to know if you are brave, clever, and strong. You will face Rena in a trial." Tom swallowed hard. A trial? He thought it would be a simple test of his skills. Instead, it seemed to be a fight against Rena. "Rena stepped forward, her voice calm but strong. "Are you ready, human?" Tom nodded. "I guess I have no choice." The crowd quieted down. Some whispered in their own language. Others watched with interest. No one expected Tom to last long. The signal came. Rena moved first. She rushed forward with a speed that surprised Tom. Her hand shot out, aiming for his shoulder. Tom barely dodged. He tripped on the dusty ground but caught himself. He knew he couldn't fight like she did. His body was not trained for combat. Instead, he decided to use his mind. He moved away quickly, dodging her next strike. Rena's moves were fast and powerful, but she was used to fighting warriors, not someone who didn't play by their rules. Tom's eyes searched the field for anything he could use. A broken metal pipe lay near the edge. He grabbed it quickly and held it out in front of him. Rena stopped, surprised. "I'm not a warrior," Tom said quietly, "but I can defend myself." Rena smiled, a small but real smile. "Good." The two circled each other. Tom's heart pounded, but his mind stayed sharp. He kept moving, using the pipe not to hit but to block. He was not strong enough to fight head-on, so he used his weight and balance to avoid getting caught. Minutes passed. The crowd started to watch more closely. Tom was not winning, but he was not losing either. He stayed on his feet. He stayed aware. Then Rena made a sudden move. She lunged forward, aiming a strong blow at Tom's side. Tom rolled to the ground just in time. Feeling the wind from her strike, he pushed himself up, breathing hard. Sweat ran down his face. This was harder than fixing engines or patching up broken systems. But something inside him kept going. The fight continued for several more minutes. Tom kept dodging and blocking. He did not strike back with power, but he used every chance to confuse Rena. He tapped her armor lightly, distracting her, then slipped away. Finally, the signal for the end of the trial came. Rena stepped back and lowered her weapon. Tom stood still, chest rising and falling quickly. He felt shocked that he had lasted this long. Rena looked at him carefully. Then she spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. "You did not fight like a coward," she said. "You did not run. You adapted. You survived." Tom blinked. He did not understand why she said those words. Was that good? Rena took a step closer and placed her ceremonial blade on the ground between them. Her eyes met his. "I deem you worthy." Tom stared at her, confused. Worthy of what? The crowd grew silent. The Vreen warriors around them began to chant a word Tom had never heard. A small translator drone hovered near his ear and whispered, "Honor Bon." Tom looked back at Rena. She waited, calm and serious. He shook his head, trying to understand. Was this a joke? A test? He had barely survived. A fight? Now he was called worthy? Rena nodded at the crowd, and one of the warriors stepped forward to explain. "In our clan, to be deemed worthy is a great honor. It means you have courage and strength of heart. It means you may share in our lives as a partner. Tom's mouth went dry. Partner? What kind of partner? The warrior continued. To refuse this honor would bring shame upon you and upon Rena. It is not just a challenge. It is a bond. Tom looked around at the watching faces. Some were curious, some were proud. He felt the weight of their expectations. He wanted to say no. He wanted to run back to his ship and fix machines, far away from the strange world. But deep inside, something told him this moment was important. He took a deep breath and said, "I accept." The Vereen warriors cheered softly. Rena gave a small nod of approval. Tom's life had changed forever. He did not know what came next. But he knew one thing. He would face it, just like he faced the trial, with courage and with heart. After the trial, Tom's mind was still spinning. He had accepted something without fully understanding what it meant. The Vereen warriors slowly returned to their usual business. But Tom stayed where he was, trying to catch his breath. His hands still shook a little from the fight. Rena, the alien warrior who had challenged him, stepped closer. Her armor shone in the soft light of the ship, and her eyes held a strange mix of respect and curiosity. "You did well," she said quietly. Many humans would have given up long before now. Tom nodded, still feeling out of place. "I just wanted to survive," he said. "I am not a warrior like you." Rena smiled slightly. Strength is not only in the body. Sometimes it is in the mind. Sometimes it is in the heart. Tom looked at her, surprised. She spoke with kindness, but there was something serious in her voice. A few moments later, two warriors approached Tom and gestured for him to follow. They led him through long, shiny hallways filled with strange symbols glowing softly on the walls. Tom's feet made quiet sounds on the metal floor as he walked, feeling like he was moving deeper into a different world. At last, they stopped in front of a large door, decorated with carvings of warriors and stars. The door opened silently, revealing a room filled with soft light and strange objects inside. Tom saw a low table with different foods he had never seen before. The smells were odd, some sharp and spicy, others sweet but unfamiliar. Rena was already there, sitting on a smooth seat near the table. She looked at him and smiled. "Welcome to my quarters. This is where I live." Tom looked around. The room was neat but strange. There were weapons hanging on the walls, trophies from battles, and images of the Vereen clan's history. It felt like a place full of stories. He sat down slowly. The warriors who had brought him here left quietly. Rena pointed at the table. "Try this." Tom picked up a small piece of food with his fingers. It looked like a crispy shell with something soft inside. He bit it carefully. The flavor was strong and new, but not bad. He swallowed and smiled. Rena laughed. "You will get used to it. Vereen food is different from Earth food." Tom nodded and ate more. He was still thinking about what had happened earlier. "Why did you say I am worthy?" he asked finally. "I just survived the fight." Rena's expression grew serious. "Because you showed something important. You did not fight like a savage. You did not try to hurt me with anger or fear. You used your mind. You adapted." Tom thought about it. On Earth, many fights were won by power or weapons. But here, in front of Rena, his way of thinking mattered more. "What happens now?" Tom asked. "What does it mean to be worthy?" Rena looked out the window. The stars were bright, and the ship moved silently through space. To be worthy means to share life, she said. "In the Vereen way, it means becoming my partner." Tom's heart jumped. "Partner? What kind of partner?" She smiled softly. "In our culture, being partners means we fight together, live together, and protect each other. It is a strong bond." Tom was quiet for a moment. He had not thought about this before. He had come on this mission to help fix machines and keep the peace. Now, he was part of something much bigger. He thought about Earth, his family, and everything he had left behind. But he also thought about the fight, the respect in Rena's eyes, and the strange feeling that maybe he belonged here now. Rena saw his hesitation and reached out her hand. "You do not need to decide now. We will have time to learn about each other." Tom took her hand. Slowly. It was warm and strong. Just then, a soft beep came from the wall. A message appeared on a screen nearby. It was from the ship's captain, Rena. The message said, "Urgent news. The Zerth clan has been spotted near the outer system. They may attack soon." Rena's face changed. The calm warrior was replaced by a fierce leader. "We must prepare," she said. "The Zerth have been our enemies for many cycles. They do not respect the honor bond." Tom looked at her with new understanding. The fight was not over. "Will you stand with me?" Rena asked quietly. Tom nodded. "Yes, I will." Rena smiled. "Good. Then your trial is only beginning." The room filled with a new energy. Tom felt nervous, but also ready. He was not just a mechanic now. He was part of a warrior clan. Over the next hours, Rena showed Tom more about her people. She told him stories of battles, of honor, and of the difficult path of being a Vreen warrior. Tom listened carefully, trying to remember everything. He learned that the Vreen did not see strength only in muscles. They valued courage, loyalty, and the will to protect others. Tom began to understand why Rena had chosen him. His quick thinking and calm heart had earned respect. When the training field was quiet again, Tom looked out at the stars. He felt a mix of fear and hope. The galaxy was full of dangers, but he was not alone anymore. Rena joined him by the window. "Tomorrow, you will meet the clan council," she said. "They will decide if you can truly join us." Tom nodded. "I will do my best." Rena smiled. Again, that is all anyone can ask. As the ship moved through the darkness of space, Tom knew his life had changed forever. The trial had ended, but the real journey was just beginning. The morning light filtered softly through the windows of the alien warship. Tom woke up feeling strange. He was no longer just a mechanic on a mission. He had been deemed worthy by Rena, the fierce Vreen warrior, but he did not fully understand what that meant. After a quick breakfast of unfamiliar but tasty food, Tom was escorted by Tavreen warriors to the clan hall. The hall was large and decorated with banners and symbols that told stories of ancient battles and great leaders. The walls were high and smooth, made from shining metal that reflected the light. As Tom walked, he could feel the eyes of the clan watching him. Some were curious, some doubtful. He knew that being accepted by Rena was only the first step. Now, the whole clan would decide if he could stay. In the center of the hall stood a group of elders, their faces serious and proud. They wore robes decorated with medals and signs of honor. Rena walked beside Tom, her posture strong and confident. One of the elders stepped forward. His voice was deep and steady as he spoke. "Tom of Earth, you have been tested by Rena and found worthy. Now you must learn our ways." Tom nodded respectfully. "I want to understand your culture. I want to learn." The elder smiled slightly. "Good. Then listen carefully." Rena led Tom through a series of lessons about the Vreen customs. She explained the meaning of their rituals, their ideas of honor, and the way they lived their lives. Being worthy, Rena said, is not only about fighting. It is about respect, loyalty, and strength of character. Tom listened closely. He learned that the Vreen believed that true strength came from the heart as much as from the body. They did not see humans as weak, but different. That difference could be a strength if used well. Over the next few hours, Tom was introduced to many traditions. He watched a ceremony where the warriors presented their battle trophies. Each trophy told a story of courage and victory. Rena showed him her own collection. There were weapons from past battles, medals, and even a small carving made by a fallen friend. "These remind me why I fight," she said softly. Tom realized that for the Vreen, every object had meaning. It was not just about power, but about memory and respect. Later, Rena took Tom to the training grounds. There, other warriors practiced moves with swords and staffs. Tom tried to copy their steps, but found it difficult. "Your body is not used to this," Rena said kindly, "but your mind can help you learn." She taught him simple moves, showing how to use balance and speed instead of force. Tom practiced hard, falling more than once, but he smiled every time he got up. As the sun moved across the sky, Tom began to understand the Vereen way of life. It was different from Earth, but it made sense in its own way. At one point, Rena brought Tom to a quiet room where a large map of the galaxy was displayed. The stars glowed softly on the surface. "This is our home," she said, pointing to a small blue planet far away. "We protect many worlds. Our clan is strong. But enemies like the Zereth threaten us." Tom looked closely. He had heard about the Zereth, a rival clan known for their cruelty and power. He felt a chill thinking about their coming attack. Rena saw his concern. "Do not be afraid. Together, we are stronger." Tom nodded, but he felt the weight of the responsibility growing heavier. Later that evening, Tom sat alone in his room, thinking about everything he had learned. He missed Earth and his simple life as a mechanic, but he also felt something new, a desire to be part of this world. A soft knock came at the door. Brina entered with 2 cups of steaming drink. "Try this," she said, handing him one. Tom took a sip. The taste was warm and spicy, unlike anything he had tasted before. "We share many things in our culture," Rena said. "Food, stories, fights, and peace. You are beginning a new journey." Tom smiled. "I want to learn more," Rena nodded, "and I will teach you." As the night grew quiet, Tom thought about what the future might hold. He was no longer just a visitor. He was becoming part of the Vereen clan, with all its challenges and honors. He looked at Rena and felt a quiet hope. Maybe the strange new world could become home. The ship hummed softly as it glided through the empty space between stars. Tom stood at the observation window, watching distant lights flicker in the dark. He had spent many hours learning about the Vereen culture and customs, yet a strange feeling had been growing inside him when he could not shake. Suddenly, the peaceful silence was broken by a loud alarm. Red lights flashed across the control room. Warriors rushed to their stations. The calm of the ship vanished in an instant. Rena appeared beside Tom, her face serious and focused. "What is happening?" Tom asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "We have spotted the Zereth clan near the outer system," Rena said. "They are moving quickly. They may attack us soon." Tom's heart raced. The Zereth were the fierce enemies of the Vereen. He had heard stories about their cruelty and power. Now, it seemed the stories were real. Rena's voice lowered. "They want to destroy our ship and break our alliance. We must be ready." The ship's captain gave orders to prepare for battle. The warriors armed themselves and took their positions. Tom watched as the once quiet halls filled with tension. He felt small and unsure. He was not trained to fight like the warriors, but he also knew that he could not stand aside. As the ship's engines hummed louder, Tom decided to help in any way he could. He ran to the engine room, hoping his skills as a mechanic could make a difference. When he arrived, the room was bright, with flashing lights and buzzing machines. The engine core glowed with blue energy. Tom's eyes quickly scanned the controls, searching for any problems. Suddenly, the alarms in the engine room blared louder. A system report flashed on the screen. Power fluctuations in the life support system. Tom's stomach tightened. Without life support, everyone on the ship could be in danger. He hurried to the main panel and began checking the circuits. It did not take long for him to find the problem. Someone had tampered with the system. Small wires were cut, and important valves were blocked. Tom realized this was sabotage. The Zereth were not only attacking with weapons, but also trying to kill everyone on board. By shutting down life support, he quickly got to work, using tools. From his belt, he repaired the wires and cleared the valves. Sweat ran down his forehead as he worked fast, knowing every second counted. Meanwhile, outside the ship, the first signs of the Zereth attack appeared. Small fighter ships appeared on the radar, moving in fast. Tom finished the last repair and checked the systems. The alarms slowed and stopped. The life support was stable again. He let out a breath he had not realized he was holding. Then, without wasting time, he ran back to the control room. Rena was there, directing the warriors with sharp commands. When she saw Tom, her eyes widened. "You saved us," she said simply. Tom shook his head. "I just fixed what they tried to break. It was not easy, Rena smiled. You have a warrior's heart, Tom, not just in battle but in protecting life. The battle began soon after. The ship shook as Zereth fighters launched attacks. Laser beams flashed through the dark, and explosions lit the space outside. The Vreen warriors fought bravely, moving with skill and power. Tom stayed close to Rena, ready to help where he could. During a fierce fight in the lower corridors, Rena was injured while protecting a young warrior. Tom saw her fall and rushed to her side. He carried her through the smoke-filled hall, dodging falling debris and enemy fire. His arms burned from the effort, but he did not stop. At last, he reached a safe room where medics waited. Rena's armor was cracked, and she was breathing hard, but she was alive. Tom stayed with her, watching as the medics worked. He realized that being part of the Vreen clan meant more than just fighting. It meant caring for each other, even in the hardest moments. The battle lasted for hours. Slowly, the Zereth fighters began to retreat. The Vreen had won this round, but the threat was not gone. Later, in the quiet after the fight, Rena called Tom to her side. She looked at him with tired eyes but a proud smile. You did well today, she said. Not only in the trial but in the battle. Tom shook his head. I just did what I could. Rena placed her hand on his shoulder. You are more than a mechanic now. You are a part of this clan. Your courage and quick thinking saved many lives. Tom felt a new strength inside him. He was still learning, still unsure of what the future held, but now he knew he belonged. As the ship moved away from the battle zone, Tom looked out the window. Again, the stars shone brightly, full of promise and danger. He thought about the fight, the bond with Rena, and the clan that had accepted him. No matter what came next, he was ready to face it. The quiet after the battle was unusual on the warship. Tom could still feel the echoes of the fight in his body, but the calm was a chance to learn and prepare for what might come next. Rena's injury was healing well, but she was still resting. Tom found himself standing in the training hall once again. This time, he was not the stranger or the learner watching from the side. He was part of the clan, expected to grow stronger. A tall warrior named Vorn approached Tom. Vorn was known for his strength and skill, but he also had a calm patience that made him a good teacher. You have courage, Vorn said simply, but courage alone is not enough. You must learn to fight with us. Tom nodded. I want to learn. I want to be ready. Vorn smiled. Good. We begin now. The training was hard. The Vreen way of fighting was not just about power but about balance, timing, and respect. Tom struggled at first, his body stiff and slow. He had never trained like this before. Vorn watched carefully and gave simple advice. Do not rush. Feel the moment. Your strength is in your mind. Use it day by day. Tom's moves grew smoother. He learned to hold a sword, to move quickly without losing balance, and to understand the rhythm of battle. The other warriors noticed his effort, and some even offered friendly advice. Rena joined the training when she was able. Though still weak, she moved with the same skill and grace that had impressed Tom during the trial. Together, they practiced new techniques. Rena taught Tom how to read an opponent's movements, how to use the environment during a fight, and how to stay calm under pressure. One evening, after a long day of training, Tom and Rena sat by the observation window, looking out at the stars. Do you miss Earth? Rena asked quietly. Tom thought for a moment. Sometimes. But I feel like I am part of something important here. Rena smiled. You have come far, but there is more to learn. Their peaceful moment was interrupted by the ship's communications officer. The screen lit up with an urgent message. The Zereth clan is gathering forces. They plan a major attack on the outer colonies, the officer said. Rena's face hardened. We must warn the colonies and prepare to defend them. Tom felt a new sense of purpose. He was no longer just fixing machines or surviving trials. He was part of a larger fight for peace and safety. The days that followed were filled with planning and preparation. Tom worked alongside engineers to strengthen the ship's defenses. He used his knowledge of machines to help repair damaged systems from the last battle. Rena led the warriors in strategy meetings, sharing her experience and courage with everyone. One night, Tom sat with Rena and Vorn, discussing the coming battle. How do we fight when we are outnumbered? Tom asked. Vorn looked at him seriously. We fight with our minds, our hearts, and our unity. The enemy may be strong, but they are not us, Rena added. Our strength comes from standing together. That is the true power of the Vreen clan. Tom felt the weight of their words. He was still learning, but he was ready to face whatever came. As the ship moved closer to the outer colonies, Tom trained harder. He wanted to be ready not just for himself, but for the people who depended on them. The stars outside the windows seemed brighter now, filled with hope and promise. He knew the coming battle would be difficult, but he also knew that he would not face it alone. With Rena by his side and the clan behind him, Tom was ready to fight for their future. The warship approached the outer colonies slowly but steadily. The bright stars of distant systems shone outside the windows. Tom felt the tension growing. The calm before the storm was heavy with expectation. Rena stood at the command center, her eyes sharp and focused. Warriors prepared weapons and checked their armor. The whole clan was ready for the battle ahead. Tom moved through the ship, checking systems and helping where he could. His heart beat faster, but he tried to stay calm. He knew the coming fight would test everything he had learned. The communication officer suddenly called out, "Enemy fleet detected. Zereth forces are closing in." Outside, dark ships appeared on the radar, moving quickly toward the colonies. They were larger in number and well armed. Rena turned to Tom. "Stay close. This battle will be hard." Tom nodded. "I'm ready." The first wave of fighters hit the ship with a loud roar. Laser beams flashed through space, hitting shields and causing sparks to fly on the ship's surface. The Vreen warriors jumped into action. They fought bravely, moving with skill and precision. Tom stayed near Rena, watching how she led with calm strength. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. A missile had struck the hull. Alarms blared as the crew rushed to repair the damage. Tom helped. The engineers stabilized the systems. His hands worked fast and sure, fixing circuits and guiding power back to the shields. Rena fought in the corridors, protecting the ship and her clan. Tom wanted to join her, but he knew his skills were needed here. The battle continued for hours. The Zereth were strong and determined. The Vreen clan fought with all their might, refusing to give up. At one point, Tom was sent to the lower decks to help clear debris and rescue trapped crew members. The corridors were filled with smoke and broken metal. He moved carefully, calling out to those who might be hurt. He found several warriors trapped under fallen beams and worked quickly to free them. Rena arrived soon after, helping carry the injured to safety. Tom admired her strength and kindness in the midst of chaos. Together, they returned to the command center, where the captain planned the next move. "We cannot let the colonies fall," the captain said. "We must push the enemy back." Rena nodded. "We will use the shield disruptor. It can weaken their fleet." Tom listened as the plan was explained. The shield disruptor was a powerful weapon, but using it meant risking the ship's own defenses. Tom felt a mixture of fear and hope. The risk was high, but it might save many lives. The warriors prepared the disruptor. Tom helped with the controls, carefully monitoring the energy levels. When the moment came, Rena gave the order. The disruptor fired a bright pulse of energy into space. The enemy ships shook and faltered. Their shields weakened, and the Vreen fighters took the chance to strike back harder. The battle turned, slowly but surely. The Zereth fleet began to retreat. Cheers rose from the crew. The Vreen had won this battle, but the war was not over. After the fight, Tom and Rena stood together, watching the stars again. "We did well," Rena said softly. "But there will be more challenges." Tom smiled. "I am ready. With you, I can face anything." Rena looked at him with respect and something deeper. "You have proven yourself a true warrior and a true partner." Tom felt warmth in his chest. This was no longer just a mission. It was his life, his home. As the ship sailed through the calm space, Tom knew that whatever came next, he would face it with courage and honor. The warship drifted through quiet space, the glow of distant stars lighting the dark sky. The battle for the outer colonies was over, But the journey was far from finished. Tom stood near the observation window, thinking about how much had changed. He was no longer the man who had first met Rena on this ship. He was now a warrior, a trusted member of the Vreen clan, and something more, Rena's chosen partner. The words she had spoken during the trial echoed in his mind. I deem you worthy to be my husband. Tom felt a mix of surprise and honor. He had never imagined this would happen. But as he looked at the stars, he knew that this new life was real and full of promise. Rena joined him, her eyes soft but strong. You were thinking about what comes next. Tom nodded. Yes, it is strange to imagine a future here. Among the stars, Rena smiled gently. Our clans have faced many dangers, but we have also built a life together. Now it is your time to choose. Tom looked at her, feeling warmth and respect. I want to stay. I want to build a future with you. Rena reached out and took his hand. Then you are truly part of our clan. Together, we will protect our people and our home. The next days were filled with new beginnings. The clan began repairing the damage from the battle. Tom helped with the work, using his skills to rebuild machines and improve the ship's systems. But the greatest change was in Tom himself. He trained with the warriors, learning more about their ways and becoming strong every day. He shared stories of Earth, and in return, the clan shared their history and dreams. Rena and Tom spent time together, growing closer with each passing moment. They talked about their hopes, fears, and the future they wanted to create. One evening, as the ship sailed near a peaceful planet, the clan held a ceremony. The hall was filled with light and music. The elders spoke words of honor and unity. Rena and Tom stood side by side as the clan recognized their bond. The ceremony was simple but meaningful. A promise to face whatever challenges the future held together. Tom looked around at the faces of the clan, strong, proud, and hopeful. He felt a deep sense of belonging. After the ceremony, Rena took Tom to a quiet place on the ship. They looked out at the stars and the blue planet below. This is our home now, Rena said softly. Not just the ship, but the people and the future we will build. Tom smiled. I never imagined I could find this family, purpose, and love so far from Earth. Rena leaned close. You have brought us hope as much as we have given you strength. Tom took her hand and squeezed it gently. I'm ready for whatever comes next. The stars shone brightly outside, a reminder of endless possibilities. Together, they faced the future warriors, partners, and friends. Their journey had begun with a test, but it was now a story of unity and courage. And in the vast universe, they had found their place.